Georgia Republican Tom Price is a member of the House Financial Service Committee, and he's also the chairman of the Republican Study Committee. How are you, sir? And good morning to you. The White House and the president says this is urgent and unavoidable. Is it?
No, I don't know who he's listening to, but he clearly isn't listening to the American people who have said, stop the madness, stop the spending. There remains over $350 billion of the previous stimulus money that hadn't even been spent. So why he needs another $50 billion, and I don't know who we're borrowing it from, but we're actually borrowing it from our kids and our grandkids. This is as reckless as it gets, and the American people are sick and tired of the spending out of Washington.
We actually came up with another number. Our brain room found as of June 4th this year, which is about a week ago, $456 billion in stimulus funds from the original pile of $787 billion from a year and a half ago has not been spent. What to do with that and why?
Well, it is remarkable, and there's another $200 billion plus that's in the TARP money that remains unspent or is recycled. The fact of the matter is Washington spends too much, and the American people know it, and they're sick and tired of it, and we need to get down to an appropriate budget. In fact, the Democrats in charge right now haven't even passed a budget. Every single family across this country knows that you've got to have a budget in order to stay in touch with what kind of money you've got coming in, and you ought not be spending more than is coming in.
Well,
and right now, Washington is just...
Yeah, you have company on that. Steny Hoyer, rather, this Democratic House Majority Leader out of Maryland, he said the following recently: I think there is spending fatigue. It's tough in both houses to get votes. If it ever came up, would it pass? Do you think there's the stomach for it today?
Well, I think that representatives, because we're getting closer to an election, are finally listening to their constituents, which they should have been doing over the last 18 months. And so I'm hopeful that we don't increase the deficit anymore. We've got to get responsible about spending. The American people know it, and as I said, they're sick and tired of the spending coming out of Washington. So maybe this is an opportunity to begin working in that bipartisan way that the president talks about and quit the madness, stop the madness, quit the spending, get back to a balanced budget.
What happens to the teachers I mentioned, the firefighters, the police officers? If they don't get the funds they need by the White House, what happens to them?
They ought to be a priority, but we ought to prioritize within a budget, which is why the Congress needs to pass a budget. You know, Bill, this is the first time since 1974 that the House has not passed a budget. First time. It's been said that if you can't budget, you can't govern, and clearly the leadership isn't there to be able to govern right now. And so what we need to do is to make certain that we pass a budget that is balanced. We ought not be spending more than we take in, and we ought to make certain that we don't increase the deficit on the backs of our kids and grandkids.
$50 billion is the request, 456 not spent. Tom Price out of Georgia, thank you, sir, for your time today.
Thanks, Bill.